Good late Thursday, early Friday meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now, giving you a look at that current Doppler radar across the region. You can see some shower activity here setting up toward parts of the First Coast region right now, so something to kind of keep an eye out for. Nothing overwhelming, not expecting any severe weather here, but just something that's kind of showing up a little bit more in the modeling here and now starting to come to fruition as we're looking and may kind of linger around some on that Friday here, even getting toward parts of North Central Florida. North Central Florida, Northeast Florida, the storyline, keeping things a little bit warmer as we get toward our regions. That's something to kind of keep our eyes on here as we're looking at things. You see cool air up toward areas like Albany there, 49 degrees. Even areas there east of 75 around Fitzgerald, they're at 45 right now. So a little bit cooler. I know we had those temperatures there toward that freezing mark on that Thursday morning, but not expecting any freezes here as we're looking ahead for the next week or so. So that's the good news if you don't want anything like that. But it's actually going to get pretty warm here as we're looking at things. It's something to kind of keep our eyes out for as we do kind of get you to that timeline here over the next few moments. But right now, let's go ahead and zoom on in towards some of this shower activity a little bit tighter. We don't have much on the radar here too often. This isn't a lot, but it's something here to discuss. So you can kind of see looking at things there from about Mayport down the coast. We'll get even a little bit tighter here. You can kind of see looking at things here. Jacksonville Beach there getting towards some of the shower activity. So we'll just continue to watch things here as we're looking toward I-95 and toward parts of our viewing area here tonight. So just something to kind of look at here as I zoom out. You see cool air in toward parts of North Georgia, but not much precipitation otherwise. But I know you do have this wind pattern here, and we have a coastal flood advisory toward areas there around the First Coast region. So something to keep in mind. I saw a rip current threat toward the East Coast, so got to remember that as well if you're headed on out there. I know for some, during some part of the day, it may be kind of cool, but depending on how things kind of moderate around, it may not be so much here as we kind of look ahead in toward the timeline. So that's just something to keep in mind here. That threat is going to be lingering here as we're looking, I know, through the day on Friday at least here, based on the current rip current statement in effect. So again, we'll just continue to watch that here in the Weather Center in terms of that here as we are looking at things. Let's go ahead and kind of move the map a little bit more. You see pretty calm here in toward many spots. We kind of just look around and see toward North Texas. I know that's where the Texas Rangers there are based, and they won the World Series championship there out in Arizona Wednesday night. They're gonna have a parade there on Friday. Well, they're looking pretty good for that. A little breezy, but for them, temperatures in the 60s during that time frame. Just after really 12 o'clock Central Time there, it's looking pretty nice for those folks. So something to kind of look at out there as we just kind of look at some of these wind patterns here and the like. So again, just kind of showing that to you guys there as we kind of look across the region. So just wanted to kind of point your attention toward that here as we kind of check some things on out. So it's kind of always noteworthy there. But let's go ahead and get on into some of the graphics now. We'll kind of do that and see some things as we kind of look ahead here. I know we'll be kind of looking ahead here at the tropics to be able to see. We still have two names on the list. Our chances of something developing have gone down here. That system we were talking about further down to the south by a good margin. Those chances have really dropped here at this point. So that's good, but we'll keep watching just in case with hurricane season running for about another month or so to the end of November. So you can see those chances of tropical cyclones still there. So much lower overall. We've had notable storms before, as we've discussed. As you see our rainfall forecast here, though, you can see not too much showing up here on that over the next 7 days. Kind of giving you guys an idea here of that overall setup. You can see a little bit more rain toward areas of the First Coast. A lot of that coming on that Friday here. You can see some areas a quarter inch here on average. So not a lot, but still could be a little bit surprising since we haven't seen too much lately. I know we've had a drought pattern per se. Had some issues here further out in the Panhandle, especially with some wildfire concern back on that Wednesday. So do need to rain. We're not really going to get that, unfortunately, toward Tallahassee, Albany, Lake City, Live Oak here, or Gainesville, so much, but you can kind of see as we get further off toward the east here, a different story to a degree, but it's going to dry out eventually here and warm up some more as we look ahead. So something to kind of keep in mind. High school football here, senior night for Bradford. That's my high school alma mater, and they'll be taking on Sewanee. They're 6-2. Bradford 9-0. Last year, the only loss for Bradford in the regular season, I believe, was against the Sewanee Bulldogs. They'll be trying to avenge that and go to 10-0 here as we're looking ahead Friday night on the radio in the Stark area and the just general region on WEAG 106.3 FM. And you can just see here mid-60s there for that game in Bradford County against Stark. Bradford going against Live Oak. Sewanee there per se. Ranking is not too much here, so that's the good news there in that storyline. Mid-60s, I mean, that's enough here, or you might need a light jacket though with that breeze out there. Maybe just even for a quick sprinkle, but the chances of rain higher during the day. So that's kind of the storyline there as we're looking at things, and a little bit further to the east, the rain chances higher as well based on the model data, the model guidance here. So again, we'll kind of look at that here as we look at this to progress into things. You can see our covered area. Of course, we're always on top of things as they break here across our 62 counties. We're based in Bradford County, though, so that's why I kind of highlighting that. And then you can see our full forecast here for the next 7 days. I know we have different fairs going on across the region, Tallahassee and Jacksonville. So, well, they're looking pretty good overall for these. So that's some good news. I mean, maybe a little bit of an issue on Friday toward Jacksonville, but just overall here, it is a pattern looking like one here where we're seeing some pretty good conditions overall here. So that's kind of the storyline there as things look pretty pleasant. I mean, a little bit warm maybe for some of you, but still you see those lows a little bit cooler at night. It's a little bit drier pattern here in the evening than what you get when you have temperatures here. Other times of the year, there, I mean, you have 80s, but then you have like 60s. There's a little more humid. This is a little bit drier air mass here as we are looking at things. So that's the good news here. As you can kind of see the overall trends here above average, lower than average on that Friday for sure. Saturday, they're starting to kind of get toward that mark, but then you can see those 78 type numbers showing up 80, 81, 82, 82 on this, and that definitely gets you a little bit warmer than normal here. But I mean, that's pretty nice weather though, so nothing to really complain about as we look there at our extended outlook. So that's kind of the storyline there as we look at things here. A pretty calm picture there as we start off November again. Just kind of try to enjoy things out there. I mean, weather definitely, I mean, other times of the year can be inclined. It can be this time too, but I mean, really, I mean, I guess it's kind of why the fairs are around this time, a couple of the major ones, because of weather like this. That's the good news here that you generally would have. You're not always going to get it. You can always get an inclement pattern setting up. We might get that later on past the 7 days here, but nothing right now to really concern ourselves with. That's the good news. And that is something that is making things enjoyable around it. You see, again, looking at this, the wind pattern to that coastal flood advisory. We've had a lot of those here lately. Just worth mentioning there towards some of those areas like St. John's and Eastern Clay, Eastern Putnam, South Central Duval, and a note of current risk. Be careful. But overall, nothing too terribly concerning overall here in this pattern. You kind of see that wind though. That pattern, we have the winds coming there from the east, but then as you get toward the land area, you have the winds instead coming from the north here. So definitely an interesting setup there. You kind of have some convergence going on there, and that's kind of setting the stage here for what we're seeing with the overall pattern here. So again, that's to do it here for tonight. I think we pretty much covered everything we need to. I know Gators have a home game in football on Saturday. And that'll be against Arkansas. Well, this will be pretty good for that. The Noles travel up, number 4 FSU there. My Seminoles travel up to Pittsburgh. Whether there, right now we're not too concerned. I'll just kind of give it another quick look here before I wrap it up to make sure we're not missing anything with that. But weather here shouldn't be anything too concerning up that way as we look at that 3:30 kickoff on ESPN there. for the Knowles against the Pitt Panthers. So right now it's in the 30s up to 38 degrees in Pittsburgh. On Saturday, it will be mostly cloudy up that way. We see that's the current conditions right now up in toward that direction. And they had an NFL game there tonight. You can see right now, pretty cool. But on Saturday afternoon, getting a 57. Saturday night, 44 with a slight chance of rain. But after the game there, winds shouldn't be too much of a factor. So a little bit cool. I mean, but for Pittsburgh standards in November, it's not like a snowstorm or anything like that. What it could be, I mean, that's always a possibility, especially if like a night kickoff here. Then you'd be even, not in this pattern, but in other patterns, that would be an issue here potentially. But not seeing that here. So, I mean, it will get dark there during the game. We do have a situation where we have to move this clocks back an hour there. As you're looking Saturday night, you get an extra hour of sleep. But then you lose that hour of daylight there in the evening hours. So keep that in mind as well. That'll be there before that game takes place. So just kind of giving you guys a rundown on that there. Again, a little bit cool, but I mean, it's not for Pittsburgh standards. For FSU standard it is, but it's been a cool at times in Tallahassee this week. This shouldn't be something just completely out of the realm of possibilities, but maybe some of the players that are wearing long sleeves and the like. But nothing too terribly chilly about that there for what it could be here in Western Pennsylvania here in this period of fall. So going back to the local view one last time, we'll watch the radar here. Some areas could get closer to a quarter or half inch there as we're looking. I mean, maybe closer to 95, but areas even closer to the coast. I mean, maybe you get closer to an inch. We'll see. That's not out of the realm. Other areas, last Tallahassee, not really a storyline here that you guys have to follow with this pattern. So that's the good news. If you don't want the rain, though, again, as we've addressed here, you can use the rain here at points. You see all the different platforms that we're on here, giving you guys the very latest on what is happening, and we'll just keep on checking everything here as warranted. But right now things look pretty calm here in the weather center. So that's what we like to see. Some rain out toward the Pacific Northwest. A lot of precip up that way. We'll kind of keep our eyes on that. That could be a national storyline as we look ahead later on. You can get that sometime this time of year. Just checking if there's any questions, comments, concerns here real quick from any of the viewers. I don't really see anything in terms of that, but I see some different folks watching like on Twitch here. And thanks so much for tuning in. Of course, you can watch on that platform. You can watch on YouTube at Clyde's Weather. Hit that subscribe button there. That's free. Enable notifications so you know when we're coming on. That's really important in severe weather, not so much for the formal updates, but in severe weather, inclement situations here, you have Twitter at Clyde Casey. That's also called X, of course. And then you have Facebook, Casey Clyde X, and Clyde Weather. So keeping you guys covered on the different platforms. For now, have a great night, everybody. Have a great weekend out there. Hopefully, Knowles get another win here and get closer to their first college football playoff appearance since the first playoff in 2014, the last 14 playoff. Hopefully things go better too if we can get in there. Can't look ahead, but hopefully go better than how they went there going back. But in 2013, of course, winning the national title, which is just so great there, beating Auburn in that instant classic there in Pasadena. Have a great night, everybody, and just stay safe out there as we look at things with the roads. Some of this could cause things to get a little bit slick, so just something to kind of keep in mind here. And we'll keep you guys updated here with IKnowCloudweather.com/radar. And not having to cut in for anything like this. I can't imagine unless something really odd happens here. But again, yeah, the website with that interactive radar so you can see what's going on here when we're not on the air. We'll be back, though, late Tuesday, that next formal update. See you then.